Welcome to Main Street Minds with your host, Amish Munshi. This is where industry leaders and seasoned pros share their secrets to success beyond limits. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to Main Street Minds. Today we have a very special guest, Matt, over here from a beautiful city of Denver. I love that place because it's a mix of lots of outdoors fun, but at the same time, it's such a safe place. Coming from a tech background, I know Denver was one of the key hubs for tech, mainly because it's geographically like so safe to actually have a lot of tech infrastructure there. Along with that, there is so much more fun things to do. So I think I'm at the perfect combination of tech with real estate in Denver, and looking forward to learning more about your secrets. So without any further delay, let's open up the floor. Matt, tell us about you. Like how did you get started?
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having me. Kind of a funny story. The way I got started in real estate was kind of by accident. I was a teacher for about 12 or 13 years,
Hmm.
and I just kind of got burned out on that. I wasn't really enjoying it as much as I previously was. Um, and I just wanted to do something else. I knew my skills were people. I was very good at meeting people, getting to know people, and I also got energy from it. It's what kind of brought me to life necessarily.
Hmm.
So figured what could be kind of a good industry to go in there. I just kind of mixed what as a kid, I always thought real estate was fascinating. You're in the car, you drive by a house, you're like, wow, look at that. Or, you always had that one friend that had an amazing home. And every time you went to it, it was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I get to go to so and so's house. Like, this is crazy. So I just kind of meshed those two, and real estate is where I landed. And I'm going on 9 years strong now. And I'm very glad I did. And I don't plan on looking back anytime soon.
Yeah, that's an amazing journey. So you said while you were in the teaching, you used to like you met with other places, other realtors like who had like amazing homes, and that's what motivated you to kind of make the switch.
Yeah, it was just kind of a natural progression. Being in the world of education, burnout happened pretty quick. After about 5 years, I just kind of didn't really love what I was doing anymore. I knew
Yeah.
I always wanted to be in business. I just didn't know what business I wanted to be in.
Hmm.
And like I said, when I started to realize that, okay, I get energy from meeting people. I really enjoy really nice homes. Let's blend those two together, and got my license in 2016, and yeah, like I said, 9 years going strong now.
Perfect. Nice. So, how easy was it to make the transition? Like, what sort of mindset and skills do you need to be a teacher, and what do you need to be a real successful realtor? And like, how did you do that?
Uh, Great question. The transition was not easy because I had been in the world of education for so long. Once I got my real estate license, a lot of people that were in my sphere were like, "Well, wait a second, you're a teacher, but now you're a realtor. Like, which one are you?" And
Mhm.
of course, especially in Denver, everyone knows 10 realtors. Many of them are going to be family members or realtors that their parents use or something
Yeah.
like that. So I was really trying to separate myself from one industry, i.e., education, and insert myself into an industry where a lot of people were established already. A lot of people had
Yeah.
relationships with agents and or agents that they could reach out to. So to break that threshold, that took a while, probably 2 or 3 years.
Hmm.
I always tell people I didn't do a lot of transactions in those first 2 or 3 years, but the one thing that I'm kind of proud of myself for is I just stuck with it. I never gave up. I knew it was what I wanted to do. I knew it was what I was going to be good at, and it just started to happen slowly but surely. And then kind of once I hit that year 4, year 5 mark, I mean, things uh, they really kind of took off for me in the best way possible. So
Yeah. Yeah, that is amazing. And tell us a little bit about the first deal. Like the first deal is always the most difficult.
uh,
How did you land that? How was it?
Yeah, actually, a very interesting story. So, a lender who was the father of a student that I was teaching
Hmm.
met him. Classic story. Met him at parent teacher conferences. Tell him I got my real estate license. I started doing this. Didn't think anything of it. Well, a few weeks later, he called me. And he's like, "Hey, I've got a client. He's looking for a home, kind of in the area that I was living in at the time." And he's like, let me set you up on a call with him and see how it goes. I tried to play it as cool as I could, but as soon as I hung up the phone, I was, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I call this guy right away? Do I give it a day? Like, what do I do? Um, and we just started. I met with him. We just started looking. He ended up actually buying a new construction home,
Hmm.
which is a little bit easier of a way to kind of ease into it because you get your feet wet really with um, how to work with people in terms of a real estate purchase or a real
Yeah.
estate transaction. So that helped. Um, but that took me almost my entire first year of being licensed to get to. So my first 10 months, I literally had no deals, no transactions, no income from real estate. Being a teacher at that time was kind of a blessing because I did have a little bit of money coming in,
Yeah.
which helped. But I knew it was kind of a double-edged sword. I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do, so it was like okay. And then later that year, I had a friend of mine at the time. He was living in an apartment, wanted to buy something to start building some equity. So that was when I kind of got my first, full blown, wrote a contract, wrote the buyer agency, did all the things, and he ended up closing on that home. So again, in that first 10 months, it took me 10 months to get to my first transaction. We'll call it 15 months to get to two transactions. And then again, it just kind of took off from there. And, one of the things you had mentioned earlier is what skills kind of translated over from education to real estate. It's really funny because if you think about it, I was a middle school teacher. So I was teaching kids anywhere from 12 to 14 or 15 years old. Um, Adults are very similar in the sense that
Yeah.
when it comes to real estate, education is paramount. A lot of people,
Yeah.
they either think they know or they've been told by other sources, parents, friends, people who bought a house 25 years ago. So I kind of leveraged my experience and really just breaking things down into the simplest form possible and just educating them about the process. Even to this day, if I'm selling a high end home at $2.5 million, we'll call it in our Denver market, I'm not really going to sell anything. I'm more so of I'm going to educate that buyer on why this home is a good purchase at $2.5 million. And
Mhm.
I've just found a lot more success in that. People don't want to be sold things; they want to be educated on things, and then given the ability to make the decision themselves. And again, that's where I think I kind of blend or mesh that education and kind of real estate slash business kind of backing.
Yeah, that is so amazing. And I almost thought it might be like I generally and I'm culprit of over explaining stuff to the
Yeah,
customers, and then I'm like, why did I even do that? Like, I'll
yeah.
confuse them more than what they need to be, but sometimes it's a good thing.
Yeah. And sometimes we do this every day. So we get going and we start telling people, okay, well, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And especially, I just got done working with a set of first time home buyers and I had to do exactly that, texting them late at night. And it's like, okay, do they really need to know this? No, like just tell them the absolute basics. Hey, be here tomorrow at this time, sign this document before, 10 p.m. Just keep it super, super basic. And I think that helps with folks like that in the long run.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a very important point. I think we have to understand what the psychology and the process and the level of maturity of the customer, explain them everything that's involved, but in a way that it's easier for them to understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so sweet. So tell us more about what are you doing right now? Are you focusing more on buyers, sellers? What's motivating you to continue being more successful?
Yeah, again, funny question. I literally just got really heavy with listings in the last like 2 weeks, so I'm going to be working more seller focused. I would say
Yeah.
through the summer months, I was really, really buyer focused. This year has been kind of even for me. If I look back at last year, I would say my production was probably 70-30 buyers to sellers.
Mhm.
And then the year before that, 2023, of course, coming out of COVID, everyone was trying to sell their house. I was probably 70-30 sellers to buyers. So I've been kind of on an even kind of curve, if you will. But again, right now, I'm really just trying to help anybody and everybody. Again, it's a big education process because our market in Denver is changing. Shoot, almost daily, weekly, monthly.
Mhm.
So it's just educating people about it. Everyone always is now a good time to sell. Is now a good time to
Yeah.
buy. And again, just using that background in education to say, in the Denver market, it's never really a bad time to buy or sell. Again, you have to adjust accordingly to the market.
Yeah.
There is definitely, buyer activity is higher during our spring months. But again, last year, if we look at last year, October, November, December were some of our heavier activity months, which is kind of out of the ordinary. So again, There's never really a bad time, but it's always a good time. I always tell people it's always a good time. Get your foot in the door sooner, start building equity sooner, and get it in
Yeah.
for the long haul. Get it in for the long haul. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm kind of even this year, if you will, with
Yeah.
buyers and sellers.
It's just still amazing how much people don't know about buying real estate. Like people are still like, I need 800 credit, I need 20% down payment. Majority of the transactions are not there. And
Yeah. Yeah, and especially too, even myself, my wife and I, we have a couple investment properties. We've done a couple fix and flips, and even just learning more so on the lending side about what's available out there.
yeah,
It was like, holy cow, there's a whole different world of like you don't need a conventional loan, you don't need to do an FHA. Like there's just a
yeah,
plethora of options. And again, so many people are conditioned, like you just said, 30-year fixed mortgage, 20% down, or I can't buy a house. And it's like
yeah,
that is not the case anymore.
yeah,
I'm sure you can speak to this as well. The lending world has changed so much, just even in the last 5 years. I feel like that there's just so many possibilities for people to get into, whether it's home ownership or capitalizing on the market to sell their home, or even on the investment side. Like there's just so much opportunity. I always tell people you just have to be willing to kind of take the risk or step off the edge, if you will, and just dive right in. Again, like I said, the possibilities are endless.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. So, tell us more about, you did hint about a little bit about some investment properties as well, right? So, are you like just that whole transition? Like, did you start off with some investment properties, or you built a portfolio over time, or uh, or opportunities came your way on the
Uh, Yeah, a little bit of both. So we're slowly building out our portfolio right now. We've got 4 rental properties here in the Denver area, and then on the side we kind of fill in those fix and flip projects. Last year we were pretty heavy on those. I think we did 3 in 1 year, which for us is a lot. I know I just met a
Yeah,
gentleman who he does 30 in a year, and I was like, no, 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 like
that's a
that's
team.
way too much. Yeah. But on the opposite end, I've got a really good friend of mine, a guy that I used to work with. He does 1 or 2 like ultra high end, $8 million flips a year,
Yeah,
and that's his business. But again, going back to us, like I said, we've done, I would say, a half dozen or so fix and flips. He learned on each one of them. Took what we learned, rolled it into the next one, identified some good opportunities. Obviously, it helps if you can build up a little bit more capital, or the lender that we were using at the time, kind of proof of concept. Okay, we've done this 2 or 3 times. We'll kind of let you guys get less origination points, or we'll give you access to a little bit higher of a line of credit. And it just gave us the ability to acquire better properties, quite honestly, and then turn and
yeah,
obviously make a better profit. On the rental side, I scratch my head sometimes. Why did I get into this? Why did I do this? But I do know that it is a very long-term play, and I'm thankful that my wife pushed me into that and got me to kind of look at it. Again, same thing. I've got friends of mine that have portfolios of 19, 20 properties, and I truly see the income, the wealth that can generate over time. Again, everyone wants to buy rental properties and start making money from day one. I will tell you wholeheartedly, it does not work that way. If it does, great. Take that and
yeah,
run with it.
yeah.
But it again, it's a very long term play, and that's just a piece to kind of our investment portfolio, along with stocks, bonds, some other things that we've got going. But we are always looking to grow that rental piece, because I would like to one day
Yeah.
just kind of sit back and hang out on those.
Yeah, I think the rental portfolio makes sense when there is multiple properties in the same geography and there is some scale to it.
Yeah. And again, we don't, it's funny, it's just me and her, my wife, so we kind of do it together. We don't really necessarily have a business model per se, but if we
Oh,
did,
perfect.
we try to acquire, 1 bed, 1 bath, 2 bed, two
Mhm.
baths, things that there will always be a rental market for. Now, again,
Yeah,
the rental market in there is going to fluctuate, which, it's crazy as it sounds, $50 a month in a rental property can swing your profit margin,
yeah,
which isn't a ton of money. But when you start doing that, over 2 or 3 properties, again, it can make a difference. But we're just trying to get ones that rents will steadily increase. They will appreciate over time. And the nice thing about us is they're, all within areas that we are familiar with. So that
yeah,
always helps too.
yeah, yeah. Makes sense. So, tell us more about the market. Yeah, like what is happening in Denver? Is it growing? Is it slowing down? What does the market look like right now?
Yeah, again, great question. I think the market in Denver, this might be the unpopular opinion. The market in Denver is coming back to reality. I think I just saw an article yesterday that in the last 5 years, the Denver market is up like 106%. And we were one of those markets during COVID where if your first offer wasn't $100,000 over asking, you were not going to get the property. Or
Yeah.
if you were doing non-refundable deposits, you're not going to get the property. We are moving away from that now, and I
Hmm.
think that homes are moving back towards like their true trading value or their true
Hmm.
fair market value, I should say.
Hmm.
Now, combined with interest rates coming down, it's one of those things where everyone's like, I'll buy when the rates come down. It's like, okay, well, the rates are coming down and prices are coming back to reality. So
Yeah.
what's your holdup? What's your hesitation? I think that COVID market, especially here in Denver, it kind of shifted the way that buyers and sellers are thinking about entering the market. And again, that's where I think that I can come in along with a lot of the people that I work with, some colleagues. There's some really, really good agents in the Denver area. It's just about educating people. Like, listen, 150,000 over asking. Sure, it might happen 1 out of 50 properties, but that market has come and gone,
Yeah.
and 3% interest rates are coming and gone. So you're not going to get $1 million house for $1,000 a month in a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So again, it's all about just educating people. Okay, here is where the current market stands. Whether you're
Hmm.
selling your house, here's where the values are. Whether you're buying a house, okay, here's where properties in that area that you're looking are going. And then again, just educate them enough to make the decision themselves, and then see if they want to enter or not. But as a whole, I would say the Denver market is really healthy. Again, it's coming back to reality, which I think is a good thing for everybody. Um, some people, if you've got your house on the market right now, you probably don't love it. But again, I think it's a good thing for the market as a whole. And I do think that if we're forecasting out Q1, Q2 of spring next year, I think everyone's kind of come to a sense of, again, reality that rates are going to hover in that 5 to 6% range. And again, there's just not the acceleration and appreciation that there was 3 and 4 years ago. So values are again going to kind of come down again back to reality.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And so I think it might be very important at this stage to like educate the seller, saying level set the expectation, and like before we go to market and say, hey, what is going to happen, right? So like how are you handling those conversations with the sellers? Like what are you recommending them?
Yeah, I mean, for the very first time, I would say in the last handful of years, you're having to you can't use comps anymore just on what has sold. You've got to look at what is currently listed on the market. How many
Yeah.
days has it been listed for? I'm using a lot of our showing service out here and showing sellers like, okay, this is where we want to price at in this area for a 4 bed, 4 bath. Here's the price point that is getting the most amount of showings, because at the end of the day, right, it's all about exposure. How many people can you get in the door? People are always going to complain about price. If it's a main floor primary, they might want a 2 story. Okay, well then we've got to move and shift and get the right people in the door that this one does fit for.
Yeah.
Um, but again, it's all about just using as much information as you can to make the best guess. You can price it right where the market's at, and it might go a little bit under, it might go a little bit over, but if you can get as close as you can, I think put sellers in a realistic expectation, then I think you set yourself up for success.
I think that's a very important key point that you brought. Like, I think the sale depends on market, right? Not based on comps. What matters is when the buyer is shopping, what options do they have?
Yeah, and Denver is slowly becoming a micro market, if you will. South Metro Denver, Cherry Creek, downtown Denver. Then you have the neighborhoods that are over in like the west side of Denver that give you really, really good and easy access to the mountains. Like, each of those markets operates differently and at different speeds and frequencies. Again, almost on a month by month basis. So
Hmm.
you really, again, if you're selling your house in, let's say, South Denver, you've really got to look at, okay, what is like this property again, 2 years old, four bed, 4 bath, what is like this? How many days has it been listed for? How many price reductions have they done? Are they getting any offers? How many showings? You've got to analyze everything to try and get as close as you can to the fair market value. Again, it for what it's worth, coming out of COVID when things were again accelerating at light speed, you didn't have to really be that good of an agent or put in that much effort. You could throw it on the market. If it checked a lot of the boxes, people were going to buy it. I think
Yeah.
now, a lot of, fortunately or unfortunately, and this is no disrespect to this, maybe someone that this happened to, but a lot of those agents have kind of pushed out of the market and are no longer practicing our license, because it's hard. It's really hard to sell a home right now. It's not as easy as it used to be. And it's like I just mentioned, it's a lot of work that goes into creating the total package of, okay, here's the fair market value for your house. What are your expectations? And, do those align? Can we get into alignment to then go to market and see what happens from there? Because there's always going to be people that, I want $3 million. Well, your house is only worth 2. Okay, well then I don't want to sell. Okay, great. But if there's people that are relatively close and you show them enough data of where the market's going, and
Yeah.
again, you can get them in line, then it might make sense to go to market.
Yeah, it's better sometimes not list it if you're not willing to sell at the right price, because it saves a
Yeah.
lot of heartburn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about you. Like, what are some of the things you like to do outside of real estate? Like, how do you spend your time?
Oh, I'm a dad of 2. I'm a husband and a dad of 2. I love spending time with my wife and kids. We go to the mountains as often as we can. We get out and do things as often as we can. Matter of fact, my kids are bugging me to get out the door and take the dogs for a walk right now. So that is kind of my favorite thing to do right now. My kids are, 6 and 4. I know they're not going to be little forever, so I'm just trying to cherish every opportunity I can while they're still little. While I'm still cool, dad, because I know they're going to get to a point where I'm not that cool anymore. But that is truly what I like to do. The other thing I really like to do is, just like I said, get out and meet people. I get energy from meeting people.
Mhm.
If business comes from it, it's just a plus. But again, my wife and I, we really like to just get out, meet new people, hang out, and then again, at the end of the day, we like to come home and hang out with our kids and let them be crazy at home.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, and I always like to ask, like, as we come close to the end of this episode, like, are there any other pieces of advice that you would like to share with other realtors, buyers, or sellers?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of advice I would like to share. Again, I'm a small fish in a big pond. I haven't been doing it for that long, but I've been doing it for long enough to kind of learn a few things. And I truthfully would just go back to, I think something I said earlier is, whether the market is up, whether the market is down, just keep moving your feet. Just keep doing the things, whatever your thing is. Again, for me, it's getting out and meeting people. Some people are really good on the phone.
Mhm.
Some people have systems that they can send cold emails and messages and do whatever your thing is. Just keep doing it. Don't stop going and don't stop moving. Because I'm a very big believer in what you put in is what you get out.
Mhm.
So again, just keep doing it on the consumer side, buyers and sellers. Like I said, whether you're in the Denver market, whether you're in California, whether you're in Florida, whether you're in New York, it's never a bad time to enter. um, Now, again, you've got to do that within your own parameters, but get with someone get with someone you trust, meet with multiple agents, meet with multiple people, get a really good idea of what's happening in your local market, and then ultimately make a decision for yourself. Don't let someone else push you in, or over, like you kind of said, don't let someone give you so much information that it's like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Take it slow. There's always going to be houses to buy. There's always going to be properties to buy. Just figure out when is the best time for you, but also know that it's never a bad time.
Yeah, and don't there is a lot of options for people, right? You don't need the 800 credit score, you don't need the 20% down payment.
That
First house,
that's the funny thing, to
yeah,
get with someone who works in lending almost before you get with a realtor, because everyone
yeah,
always goes to, what are interest rates? What do the payments look like? And on the agent side, I'm like, I don't know, but I can get you with someone who can tell you that, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to know where their money's going to go. So again, I would almost recommend get with a lender before you even get with a realtor. Figure out what's your budget.
yeah,
I always tell people, sure, you're approved for $1 million, but that's X amount per month. Well, I only want to spend, A, B, C amount per month. Okay. Then we've got to adjust your parameters with where you're looking. So
yeah,
like I said, get with the lender, figure out your budget, figure out where your sweet spot is for what you want to spend on housing, and then, get with a realtor, find something from there.
yeah. And I think that's a very important point. Like, when I was trying to buy my first house, I wanted a lakefront property with 1.5 million in Bay Area, California, and I ended up buying a $300,000 house in Sacramento. The first house
Yeah.
might not even be the one that you really wanted, but if I didn't buy that $300,000 house, I will not. Today, I wouldn't be in a $3 million house.
Yeah, exactly. My wife and I talk about that all the time. Our first house, we weren't even married when we bought it together. I don't know what we were thinking, but we bought a 700 square foot condo in the Denver Tech Center for like $200,000. Lived in it for a couple years, sold it, made money to build our house, build our next house after that. Lived in that, made enough money to build the house that we're in now, which I would like to stay, and my wife's already looking at new houses to move into again. But it's always, it starts with that first one, and it just goes from there. So that's why I just tell people, like, you know, guys like me and you, it's like we're literally living examples of, you don't have to buy the $1.5 million house right away. Start a little smaller, put some equity in, make some money, and then just work your way up.
Yeah. Just ensure it fits your needs, and then you'll be fine. Like get in
Absolutely.
in a home that you like if it's the right time for you. Don't buy because the interest rates are low or a house is available for a discount. That's the wrong time to buy. Buy a house.
Exactly.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great. So thanks, Matt, for jumping on a busy Saturday, spending time with us away from the family, and enlightening us with everything that's happening around Denver and in the market as well. So thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Like I said, thank you for having me.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Main Street Minds. Want to share your journey with our audience? Head over to mainstreetmindspodcast.com/guest to apply.